What is going on, everybody? It is the Zip Zap Zop, and today I'm doing another iteration of unfinished and unreleased maps on Halo Reach, although the unreleased part is kinda accurate because some of these have actually been put up on my old channel, but they're not on this current channel, so I think it's fair game to go ahead and make a video about them and say they're quote-unquote unreleased in this context, or at least you guys haven't seen them before, so that's the main idea anyways. So, without further ado, I guess let's get on into it. This is Act 1, Emergency Version 2. I ended up being pretty unsatisfied with the original Act 1 when I looked back on it, and so I decided to make a revision a few months after the initial campaign came out, and this is what it is. On the first map, I claimed it to be a hospital, but you couldn't actually tell it was a hospital because the sight lines were so short and the environment was so dark and claustrophobic, and there was a lack of aesthetics that just kind of defined it as anything but a series of hallways. So in this version, I tried to make it explicitly clear on what the play space was and leave absolutely no question in the player's mind. I did this by mostly using the lightly colored pieces to a much greater degree than the prior map, like the brace larges and the bridge pieces in the hallways, and even the hospital beds lying around, which I don't think there were any present in the first map, probably because there wasn't enough room. But yeah, just things like that that make it definitely clear and establish a good feel is what I was trying to do. The gameplay in this map is also far superior to the original Act 1, because on this map, the humans actually stand a chance. They won't just get slaughtered off spawn trying to react in time as the zombies round the next corner. And these things put together really make me like this map over the prior one. Anyways though, let's move on to the next map. This is Post-War, a relic of ancient history. This was built in early 2011, and it's not my pride and joy in terms of forging, but I must say, for really not understanding any of the concepts at all in forging, I didn't understand gameplay, I didn't understand aesthetics, I just kind of went in and made what I imagined, and I am overall fairly happy with how it turned out. Ironically enough, a big piece of inspiration when making this map was the Twilight Zone episode. I forget the name, but it was the one where they go and hide in a bank safe and then there's a nuclear apocalypse outside and they come back out and see all the destruction. That was actually where the idea started. In the end, though, this map really only does serve Machinima and maybe Infection well. I've only played this map on Infection with like 3 people because at the time I made this, I had like no following and no one was willing to play with me, so I just kind of gathered up who I knew closely and we played it, and that was that. I do think it's noteworthy to say, though, this was the first map I ever put on YouTube, ever. And it did pretty successful. It got a lot of views, ironically enough. So, yeah, there's really not a lot to say on this map, though, besides the fact that it was kind of the turning point where I started improving my skills because I got a lot of feedback, whereas before then, no one really took notice at all and just kind of went on doing my thing. But anyways, let's go ahead and switch over to the next map. Alright, so this is a personal favorite of mine. It is the Courthouse, co-forged by myself and Foreign Accent. So I think the name kind of explains what the game type actually is. It functions similarly to Mike Myers, with the exception of the last man standing still cannot kill Sandusky. Unfortunately for them, they just gotta outrun, outsmart, or outhide him. Any of the 3 will work. Now, this is actually set in a courthouse, as the name would imply. And inside there's a lot of hiding spaces and, nooks and crannies you can tuck your way into, and then main corridors, of course, that you can try to outrun them through. Although, outrunning normally relies on using someone else's bait, because Sandusky is actually faster than you are as the survivors, so you gotta move quick and be smart about when you move. That's really it for this map, though. It has the very distinct courthouse feel, with the stands, and the gravity hammer, and the different, seats and whatever else, and the multi-floored layers with the balconies. That was the main goal, to create something that was immersive, and at the same time, comical to be used with the run from Sandusky game type. Anyways, though, moving right along. Now, this is a Machinima set. It's obliged that I put at least one in because I've made a lot of Machinima sets that are just sitting dormant now, never to be used, because the Great Divide has been cancelled. But this map itself is meant to be a representation of Capitol Hill and the Oval Office and the immediately surrounding area, with a few gimmicky things here or there, like an escape route and a secret doorway, and just stuff like that. Of course, the main focus is the Oval Office itself. In the episode, the main character was going to get elected and he would be put in there, and there would be a lot of shots taken in this area, of course, and so it needed to look really good. It isn't necessarily accurate per se, but it has the rounded feel with the big imposing desk and the other chairs along the sides and in the middle that I was trying to do. I even took the time to try to include that little door at the bottom of the desk. I can't remember who added that. I think it was Kennedy. I might be wrong. But that's about it for this map because it's pretty straightforward, pretty basic, not a lot to be said. Just for machinima purposes, never gonna be for gameplay. So, moving right along. The final map of this episode is Nuclear Silos, and this is the one that can be debated the most on was it released or not. I'm going to go with yes, but not on this channel. I like this map because it appears to look good, but at the same time, the gameplay is tolerable. It's not horrible like it was on the previous one post-war. That map you just don't want to play, right? But this one, it's okay to play. It plays pretty well. It's not perfect by any means, but it works out. Because this was my first really serious attempt at creating a balanced experience, I tried really hard to pull off the whole 2 entrances to every space at least, and then of course 3 is preferable, so that is obviously very visible. Another thing is that this was the first map I ever took the time to make a layout for on paper and draw out how I was going to have everything interlinked and connected with the various levels and the missile silos, how it was all going to work. This is the only time up to this point that I had done that. And it really did help out, I think, in the end. And having a plan before you actually go and forge the map is a good idea, because then you will have a clear-cut idea of what you're doing. You'll be much more productive, less just staring at it. What should I put next? Maybe I should put this here, or I could put it there. There's less of the struggle that comes with improvising and more of a good, planned outcome that you can then work to better through gameplay testing and not get bogged down just trying to move each piece manually and contemplating if it's working real time. And the aesthetics on this map I am very pleased with because I was trying to create the creepy, kind of Cold War-esque bunker, which is completely isolated from all the annihilation and destruction that would be happening on the surface were there to actually be a nuclear conflict. And so, as a result of that, you'll see all these computer terminals around, you'll see these random kind of technological-looking aesthetic pieces that may not have actual significance, but they're just there to further the feel. Because it really is a kind of a creepy concept, right? The whole sterile isolation from whatever's happening above you, even though you know it's over, right? And you won't be coming back out, presumably. And if you do, it's not going to look pretty, not going to look anything like it used to. So it's kind of a concept like that, although I think I'm way overdoing it for just a simple infection map. Anyways, though, that's pretty much all I want to say about these maps. If you watched to this point, thank you very much. You're a good soul. Anyways, I'm the Zip Zap Zop. I would like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. And the machinima is coming along at a rapid rate, should be here soon. Just need to wait on a few more voice actors to get their lines in.